Hi, I'm Kenneth Wajda, and I'm a professional photographer here in Colorado. Thanks for watching. So today I want to talk about a photograph that I made. I was hired by a local artist to photograph another artist friend of his who makes these sculptures that are kinetic sculptures. They move. And he had asked me to go out to the artist's home and to photograph him and his team. He has two folks working with him. And the three of them were working on this piece that's going into a local city's municipal building. They commissioned it. And so I went out, and we went out together. We went out first light, and there wasn't anything to photograph. The sculpture that he was making, if I can use the analogy of a Christmas tree, it was like the Christmas tree was just partially unboxed, if it was an artificial tree, and it didn't have anything on it. And my time is valuable, right? Oh, come on. I must shoot now. But wait, there's no deadline. And he lives around the corner. And I said, you know what? What's best for this photograph is to not shoot it now. I had my film cameras with me. I had some digital cameras with me. And I made a decision that, you know what? I'm not going to photograph anything today because there's nothing to photograph. And we're not on deadline. That we don't have to go make it happen. We don't have to force it. But I wanted to go and photograph it. And I wanted to work and finish this project for this other artist that hired me. So last week, the artist who's building the sculpture emailed me and says, hey, you know, it's looking great today. We're going to get everything on it today. It's going to be something, it's going to be a good day to photograph it. And today's probably the last day to photograph it, because once we get these elements on it, we will never put those back up on there because we'll be disassembling it to deliver it. So I thought, okay, I'm headed out. And I got out there and I brought film cameras and digital. I had a Leica M9. I had a Mamiya C220. And I had a Leica M2. And I shot film. I shot a 15 millimeter lens on the Leica M2, and I shot a 35 millimeter lens on the Leica M9, and I had a 65 millimeter lens, which is a 35 millimeter equivalent in 35 millimeter photography. And I'm such a believer in film, I would almost only want to bring film out to an assignment like that. But based on my lens choices, based on my photo composition, working with that Mamiya, working with the M2, and working with the M9, the Tri-X that I shot, the wide 15 millimeter photographs are okay, but they're not my favorite. The 6x6 negatives from the C220 are sharp, but I didn't capture the right moments. And there are times when it's not like film is better than anything else. The moment is the most important thing. And so the photographs from the M9 were the ones that I think were the strongest. And my lead photo, because I'm going to do a large print and then a series of smaller prints, my lead photo is from the M9. And I'll put that in the links below. And I really love that photograph. It's one of those photographs that makes me happy. It wasn't completely staged. It was something where the subject was moving and turning, and in the photograph you'll see he's not looking at the camera. And I love that composition, but the M9 was what I was holding at the moment that happened. And that moment is more important than, look at this great negative that worked from this Mamiya film camera. There's a time for film, there's a time for digital. Film has its own look, but again, you have to go with the story and what's the best photograph to tell that story. And on that day, after scanning through my negatives, after putting my photographs from the M9 into Lightroom, this is my lead photograph from the Leica M9. And I love it. The client will love it. He hasn't seen it yet. And I'm really looking forward to showing it to him, because it's one of those photographs that, you know, it's great when we make a photograph that satisfies a client, but when we're also very satisfied and happy with it, it's great to be able to be proud of that. So that's today's photo talk. Thanks so much for watching, and if you're enjoying these, hit the subscribe button and I'll bring you some more. Thanks.